I'm driving the Centurion, the map is Malinovka. I think we all know what's about to happen. So as usual, first thing I just head straight for the hill. One of our bad players, I can't remember who, called to stay in base and get shots or some shit, because he reckoned the enemy chaffee was going to dash across the field. Hardest immediately begins arguing, of course. If he didn't, I would. Yes, it was RE75, of course. I don't know what it is with E75s attracting bad players, but boy do they. So you can see the enemy team are mostly bad. They have one competent player and a Type 61. He might be a minor problem on hill. He has the gun depression to give me a headache, but he doesn't have the armor to do so. Even his turret is butter to my gun, so it's not really a problem. Unless somebody else is drawing my fire while he pops shots into me. So as usual, it comes down to me being able to play the terrain on top of the hill well, which in a Centurion is probably the easiest ask you could possibly come up with. So Chaffee's up there already, so much from going across middle. He lights me by just peeking over the edge there, so I cut across to the far corner of the map so I don't get hit. I was actually trying to spot the base of the ramp before, but the risk of getting popped in the side is just too great. If I wasn't lit, I could probably get away with it. So R54 is already on top of the hill, but he's not pushing the issue, which is probably a mistake. If you actually get tanks to the hill first, you need to really aggressively take control of it. Or this happens, the R54 is pushed up. You can see he's firing heat, does nothing to the Centurion's turret, unless he hits one of its big spots anyway. Which he likely won't, because he's snapshotting. Bounce that one off the roof of his turret, but if I can get myself in a position to hit him in the hull again, I'll just be able to drill rounds through him, shot for shot, while he bounces off my turret. You can see I'm sort of cutting. I do this thing when I'm in a hold down position. It's like forming lanes almost. I'll drive forwards, then I'll back up and turn. Drive forwards, back up and turn. You can see me zigzagging across. Generally it's enough to throw Puppy Arty so they either won't hit me or they just will splash me for very little damage. It also keeps enemy mediums and heavies guessing where I'm about to pop up. So it's maybe not always necessary, but it's just a thing I like to do. It also lets me work the terrain better here because you can see the hill slopes gently down to the left, down here. So if I sort of work my way left, it gives me a bit more cover all the way up to basically where the enemy Centurion is. You can see that hole there. I'm not sure if you can because of YouTube quality, but right there. This whole lane here is a position I like to work through. It also works with the Soviet mediums because it's a bit flatter so they can depress their guns, and it's also the bowl is just deep enough to cover them, especially the smaller ones like the 416 and the 430. So you can see me working to get shots here. I'm kind of only half paying attention to this Centurion because I want to pop the 54. Now, he hit me with AP and for 266. Both of these things mean he has to be using a 20-pounder. The L7A1 cannot do less than 293 damage unless he fucked up an AG or Hesh round, and it doesn't get AP. So I know he's not really a threat. He does have decent DPM, but he's not going to pen my turret, and he's not really going to do a lot of damage if he does pen me. So I ignore him, continue working on the two guys that are actually going to be a problem. You can see he's just bouncing off the ISA. The 20-pounder at tier 9 really is not viable, regardless of what certain streamers might say. So E75s resorted to APCR, but APCR, even from the 75 against a hold down Centurion, is not going to do a whole lot. So with the top of the hill one, I relocate down here. 54E1s are a problem. I'm trying to pop in. Unfortunately, my shot managed to find a house. And then, oh look, another Centurion. So the Wheezy pushes up and takes a shot, and then I managed to tag the back of that guy's wreck because Artie dealt with him first. Enemy Centurion's down in the spotting place in D6. He's going to be up and down there the whole time. It'd be a waste of time for me to sit there and try and put shots into him because he's just going to back and forth constantly. So instead I decided to push across the hill a little and try and get shots on the E75, who has by now retreated all the way down to the church. Still ignoring that scent. Looks like my team have got him handled, and he's not in a position I can reliably hit. On the other hand, this E75, poking the corner of his tank out, is just asking to be tracked. ISU gets lit. It's a more important target. It's still full health and it's about to get recloaked. So before he can back out too far, I put a shot in his general direction. I believe that hit. So I don't want to sit in the same place for too long after being spotted, or after firing my gun from a stationary position. Probably the ISU would have been looking up this way. So I move around. Even if I'm not lit, I'm just so in the habit of doing it. I'll fire a shot or two and then I'll move. It's just good practice when there's Artie in a match. Even when there's not Artie in a match, it's good practice to move. Because if you stay in the same place, pubbies will be able to flank around you, they'll be able to put blind shots in, it's just not worth the risk. So, 0 damage track shot into the ISU. The L7A1's a very accurate gun, one of the more accurate guns in the game. It does occasionally dirt shots though. It's not as noticeable now with the Sigma changes, but it does still happen from time to time. So you can see me trying to see if the 75's out, but he's not. Tiger 2 just got dealt with, ISU's gone, so I parachute down the hill and off I go. The last targets are presumably not far from where they were last seen. Sure enough, T-32 hasn't moved at all. I know the E-75 hasn't moved, or I would have seen him. And there's the enemy Artie. E-75 does actually begin to run and immediately gets spotted by me and cleaned up. I've noticed something interesting the other day while I was looking for ammunition in the bi-monthly something awful is the 4202 a bad tank debate. The Centurion and 4202 actually have very comparable hull and turret traverse speeds to Soviet mediums. They also have better ground traction. So make of that what you will. They might not be fast, but between their acceleration, their traction, and their traverse speeds, they're very agile. So easy, was it like 3.8k if I hit that blind shot? Something like that. Easy, 3.5 to 4k damage game, I guess. I'll call it that. You'll be able to see in the post games exactly how much it was, but once again, hill control wins the map.